father and son duos who raced in Formula 1, and yes, Jos the Boss will feature on this list. Ranked in no particular order, because why bother? Just enjoy the list for what it is and learn a wee bit about the great sport called Formula 1's brilliant history. Number 8. Michael Schumacher and Mick Schumacher. Yes, it's an obvious one, so get it out of the way. Schumi Senior is my personal GOAT. Dirty, win at all costs, and incredibly talented, the Regenmeister made me temporarily desert my beloved McLaren for Benetton and Ferrari for a few years. Luckily, the Papayas are a forgiving bunch and have accepted me back after Schumi's first retirement. Now, what can be said about a man that won 90 odd races and 7 World Drivers' Championships? He lived rent-free in Damon Hill's head and made Ferrari great again, winning titles with the second best car in 94 and 95, and then somehow convincing Ferrari to abandon their grabbing defeat from the jaws of victory ways for a decade or so. His boy hasn't been quite as successful though. Apart from destroying Papa's Rubel's Mazepin at Haas, poor Mick hasn't really had the chance to shine. Yes, he was outclassed by K-Mag in his so far last season in Formula 1, but I saw some serious improvement from Mick towards the end of that season, only to be unceremoniously dumped by Steiner in what I firmly believe was a personal vendetta by the Steiner against Mick. I also believe the Illuminati were involved and they all decided to fire Mick at a P. Diddy party. Mick has been wasting away as Merck's test driver and doing endurance racing for Alpine. I don't understand why he hasn't gotten another go in Formula 1. Alpine surely could have used him this season, and so could Williams or Sauber have. He could not have been any worse than what they currently have behind the wheel. Even if Mick gets a drive in Formula 1, I still firmly believe my P. Diddy theory, and even though I'm a definite Mick fan, he surely can now never reach the heights his dad did, and even Uncle Ralph's much more humble achievements seem some way off. Number 7. Graham Hill and Damon Hill. The Hills did what most thought unthinkable. Damon became the first son of a world champion to win the title as well, paving the way for Nico Rosberg to follow in his footsteps. I remain firm in my belief that Graham Hill would have been an amazing James Bond villain. Just look at the man. He was a brilliant Formula 1 driver though, winning 2 WDCs in an era that included GOAT contenders Jackie Stewart and Jim Clark, in a time when all Scotsmen apparently were brilliant drivers. Mr. Monaco won the Monaco GP 5 times when it was still the crown jewel in the Formula 1 crown, before it became a very 60-odd lap long parade lap. The only man to win the Triple Crown of Motorsport, the Indy 500, the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the Monaco GP. Graham's boy Damon entered Formula 1 at Rubbish Brabham in 1992 when he was already in his 30s. And despite being a bit of Michael Schumacher's punching bag in 94-95, Damon came good and convincingly won the 96 title, ironically partnered by teammate Jacques Villeneuve, also the son of a former Formula 1 ace. Damon ended up with 22 wins, ironically unable to win at Monaco, where his dad won 5 times. Number 6. Jan and Kevin Magnussen. Before there was Super Max, there was Super Jan. Yes, he didn't quite reach the same levels of superness, but the man still produced K-Mag, who has given fans hours of entertainment and scared the living daylights out of numerous drivers trying to pass or being passed by the man called Magnussen, or breaking Steiner's door. Jan was once described by his team boss at Stewart Racing, Jackie Stewart, 3-time world champion, as, and I quote, the most talented young driver to emerge since Ayrton Senna, end quote. That's high praise from a 3-time World Drivers' Champion, but a career of 25 races and a single point doesn't quite live up to those expectations. Ironically, Super Jan was sacked and replaced at Stewart by none other than Super Max's papa, Jos the Boss himself. We all know Jan's boy K-Mag, 10 years in the sport and a crowd favorite, even if not quite that beloved by other Formula 1 pilots.
Magnussen is and will always be stupid.
Number 5. Mario Andretti and Michael Andretti. Yes, Andretti, as in Andretti Motorsport, the team so desperately trying to get onto the Formula 1 grid for the last few years. Mario split his time between F1 and Indy cars from the 60s to the 80s, and won titles in both. He won the 1978 Formula One World Drivers' Championship driving the absolutely gorgeous Lotus, one of the best and most beautiful cars to grace the grid. Son Michael Andretti also won an IndyCar World Drivers' Championship in 91 and by 93 was partnering Ayrton Senna at McLaren. It did not go well though, despite team boss Ron Dennis saying, and I quote, "I think he can win Grand Prix and become a world champion. It's not a question of which country you come from. It's how you demonstrate your desire to win," end quote. Andretti managed a single podium and only 13 races before being replaced by a young Mika Hakkinen, who would go on to win the races and the titles Ron Dennis predicted for Andretti. 4. Kiki and Nico Rosberg. If you've watched my videos, you know that I rate Nigel Mansell as the sport's greatest mustache ever, with Kiki a close second. The manliest of men, I think Don Fry and Chuck Norris may have been fans of his. Kiki became World Drivers' Champion in '82, despite only winning 5 races in his entire career. The man who I choose to believe raced with an open shirt, without a helmet, with chest hair and silver chains flying, intermingled with that glorious mustache around the world's racetracks. Son was even better than he was. Kiki raced under a Finland flag, while son Nico raced under a German one. Nico outclassed Dad on the track. Despite never showing any signs of a mustache to rival his dad, he won 22 races and of course became the only man to beat 7-time world champions Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton as a teammate. Pretty impressive stuff, leaving Nico as probably the second most successful son of a Formula One ace to so far grace the grid. Of course, we all await the moment a young Latifi gets signed to race for Williams in a decade or two. Poor kid would need a miracle though to live up to become Latifi 2.0. 3. Gilles and Jacques Villeneuve. Gilles Villeneuve only started 67 Grand Prix. He won 6 and was runner-up to teammate Jody Scheckter in the 79 title race while driving for Ferrari. Villeneuve is seen by many as one of the greatest drivers never to win the title, and unfortunately passed away in a crash in 1982. Son Jacques joined Williams in 96 as IndyCar champ and won the 97 title to fulfill his dad's destiny, before planking around the grid to very little effect for a few more years before fading into whatever Canadians fade off into. I don't know if they become Mounties or they start farming with bears or so. I don't know. I'm not Canadian. 2. Jos and Max Verstappen. Jos the boss's 3 most noteworthy contributions to this great sport were becoming Michael Schumacher's teammate at Benetton, surviving an incredibly scary pit lane fire while at Benetton, and partnering with Max's mom to create the Prince of Orange. Jos wasn't horrible, but things didn't click for him, and his 2 podiums in 106 starts were quickly eclipsed by son Max, who at the time of writing is a triple champion with 60-odd wins. The one example where the son completely annihilated daddy's talents. Kiki Rosberg at least won a few himself and a title. Poor old Jos, the not-so-convincing boss, has been relegated to living vicariously through Maxi, and without a doubt reminding himself that if it weren't for him, there'd be no Max. So of course that would place him as the greatest driver, or contributor to drivers, or contributor to Formula One from Holland of all time. And we've reached number 1. Nelson and Nelson, PK. I had to put them first. They have the same name, how cool is that? Max's main squeezer's daddy is well known for opening his mouth to cause years of repercussions, whether rolling some racial slurs towards Lewis Hamilton, calling Mansell's wife ugly, or saying he was better than Senna, because unlike Ayrton, he didn't die on track.
Being honest, who was the best? You and Senna. Said, I'm alive.
Yeah.
Wow, rough stuff. When not acting insane, Nelson Sr. managed 3 World Drivers' Championships though, which is very impressive. Junior, less impressive though, 28 starts, a single podium, and most known for intentionally crashing on team orders. For Renault in what was commonly known as Crashgate doesn't translate to a great Formula One career. Senior obviously wins this one. And once more, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, that subscribe and the share buttons must be calling your name very loudly. Can you hear them? Can you hear them? Thank you for watching once again. God bless till we meet again.